Hey, all my crafting friends, I hope you're having a great Tuesday, and I want to welcome you to my studio for a Technique Tuesday. I'm Lisa Fulford, your creative coach, and I have a fun little technique for you today. And actually, it's a double technique today. I have this cute little card, and we are going to do some watercoloring on our 100 fluid paper, and also some embossing in any color of ink that Stampin' Up offers. And so I have a couple, little things here, just in this little couple images here, a couple techniques to show you. So let's get started. I'm going to set that right up there as our, so you can see what card we're making. And I'm going to bring in our inks. I have, let's see, I have Pecan Pie, Crumb Cake, Calypso Coral, and Lost Lagoon. And those are inks that we find in the paper a Little Latte, our 12 by 12 paper. I took it, our colors from this piece of paper and also from this one. And so I have that. And then I also have Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then our VersaMark ink. And I'm going to show how you can use any color to emboss with. And we will be using black embossing powder, some clear embossing powder, and my mini Stampin' Cutting emboss machine. And so here are our bits and pieces that we're going to use. I've got a piece of lemon lolly here, and it measures at 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25. So I have that already, and I'm going to take my foam folder and go ahead and crease that. And then I have a piece of very vanilla, and this measures 3.5 by 5, and that'll be our inside piece. I have a couple pieces of our Fluid 100 paper, watercolor paper, and this is a half sheet, and it is 3.5 by 5, I do believe, and then this is just a scrap piece that I have. I'm gonna put that right there. And then this piece of our DSP, it is 2.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And then the bean, the coffee bean paper on the Calypso Coral. This one is, let's see, 3 inches by 4.25 inches. And so there's that. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of our bits and pieces off of the workstation. The stamp set that we are using is the Latte Love Stamp Set. So I'm going to use the thanks so much for our sentiment. And then we're going to use this coffee mug and these two different latte foams. Oh, and then the little bean up here. And so I'm going to get started with that. And I'll bring in my little beans for this. And I'm going to use the pecan pie for that. I'm just stamping them kind of randomly in each corner. There we go. And there's that one. And I did get my finger in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of baby wipe here so I can wipe my hands and then use it. I'll be using it again here in shortly. So I'll get that off my fingers so I don't put any fingerprints on my project. So whenever you're doing anything with watercoloring, you usually get a little bit messy, but I don't mind. So I'm just going to add this to the inside of our card base. do that. Fold that over. And then I want to take this one, the coffee bean. I'm just adding glue to my corners, and then we'll get into the technique here in just a moment. This is just quick and easy. Getting it put together so we can spend a little bit of time with that technique. So I want to just kind of make certain I get that lined up, and I'm going to slide that up if I can. There we go. So there's pretty much our card base is finished. So I'm going to slide that right under there for now. All right. So for this is where I'm going to stamp the mugs, and this is where I'm going to stamp the centerpieces. And I'm going to take the VersaMark and my stamp with the mug, and I'm going to ink this up. And this is kind of yucky looking, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to emboss in black embossing powder. I'll set this off here to the side for now. I'm just going to really ink that up. Stamp this over here. Ink this up again. I'll stamp this down here. And there's a little bit of a color to it. You can see that, but that's because I've used this ink pad for different techniques, and so it's kind of really been through the mill. I probably should have used the embossing buddy on this, but we'll see how well we do here. That looks pretty good there. Move this out of the way and bring in my heat gun. I'll start getting this heated up, and then I will emboss this. As if I'm talking, you can hear the heat gun. If I'm not talking, you generally can't. So I'm gonna heat this up and show the embossing. Starting to get a little shiny. Now you can over emboss and make it dull again. You want it to just turn shiny. Don't burn yourself. I like to come from the back. We lift up that embossing powder. There we go. So there's that done, and we will color that in just a moment. Okay, so now then, the second part of the embossing are these two images here, and I'm going to use the Pecan Pie. Open this up. So what I do, and this is how this ink pad got kind of messy, is I'm going to ink this up in the VersaMark, and over here in the Pecan Pie, and stamp. And this one here, I'm going to ink it up in the VersaMark. Over here in the Pecan Pie. And stamp. And then bring in my clear embossing powder. And when you're doing any color, you want the clear. And I wanted this to have a kind of a shiny liquidy feel to it. And now it's really dull looking. And that's because the embossing powder is on the ink. And see, I have that on there. That can be fixed with just a spoon. I'm working the ink out of it. So as you do that, I should have made certain that my stamp was clean, but apparently I'd missed cleaning one before I went on to doing that technique. So, but it's all good. So now then I need to emboss this, and you'll see how it changes from the dull to the more shiny pecan pie. You can see it starting to change. Back. Okay, now we're going to start in on our technique. So I have a water painter here. This is one of my older ones. I have some of the newer ones, but this one already had water in it. The other one, yeah, they're not filled up. So I'm just using one of my older ones. We have some that are different sizes of watercolors, and they're really nice, and they hold more water. Oh, this one does have some water. I can use that one. I'm going to, oh, they screw off the opposite direction. I forgot about that. So I'm going to take that one off, and then I'm going to just replace this end like that. All right, I'll have that handy. And I have a block here to do some of the technique. And then I have a die cut for when we're finished. All right, so I'll just add some water here in the middle with the old one. And then I'm going to bring in some colors. Here is on the corner, that's our Lost Lagoon. On another corner, this is going to be Crumb Cake. And then on another corner, we're looking at Calypso Coral. All right, so I'm going to take and pick up some of that water and add it to around our mug and our handle. because when you want to watercolor, you want to start out with it a little bit wet. You don't want it to be super dry. Okay. All right. So now then, I'm going to start with my Calypso Coral, and I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to add it to the mug, to that brim. Now I went out a little bit, and that's fine. And going in here is fine, and I'll show you why. So if I go out just a little bit outside that ring, like that, when I cut it out, it'll not be a stark white color like it is here on mine. And then I want to add it like darker on the actual brim. And on that handle. So I'm just picking up more and more to put it into that little section to make that darker. And if some of it goes in here, that makes it where it looks like it's the mug and not just the white of the paper showing through. Okay, so now that I'm going to clean my brush, just wiping it off. You can clean it by brushing it till it finally comes clean, but I'm just using that baby wipe. Okay, so now then, I need to make certain I've got water on this one. Going around that mug. And we're going to pick up this Lost Lagoon. Just keep adding it around that mug. Like that. And then that handle. Okay. And then we can add it to the center. And it could be, it doesn't have to be as dark. We want it a little bit lighter. We just don't want that stark whiteness. And then out here around the outside edge. Like that. And I'm just darkening back that mug up again. So I want that to sit off here to the edge to dry. And then I'm going to clean this up. All right, so now then, this is stamped in the Pecan Pie. And I'm going to add some water to this. And around the outside edge. Add it to this. Around that outside edge. And we're going to pick up this Crumb Cake and add it to this wash here. And this, we're just doing a watercolor wash over this. So kind of like that. Then I have a paper towel here, and I'm going to blot it. I don't want it that dark, but I don't want it, I want it a little bit darker than what it was turning out to, than what this watercolor paper is. So it's kind of like that, and I'm cleaning that off. And that is all of our watercoloring. So for this one here, we stamped it in VersaMark and used black embossing powder, and then we used watercoloring technique on there. And then this one here, the technique for this one is also watercoloring, but it is stamping and embossing in any color of ink. And so this VersaMark is dedicated just for that multicolor stamping, embossing. And then I have a newer, cleaner one for whenever I want to do embossing, like with white or just clear and doing an emboss resist. So those need to dry just a little bit. And these feel, I'm going to take that over it, make certain to dry it just a bit. And then we need to cut these out. So while that's drying, I'm going to fussy cut this out. I'm certain we have a die or some sort of a punch, but I just wanted to just quickly fussy cut around this. And I'm moving the paper more than I'm moving the scissors, so it makes for a cleaner. So there's that. And so the coffee is the darker, and then the latte design is the little bit lighter, but it's not exactly white, so because it mixes with our coffee. And so with having it be embossed, then it could hold the color. If I had just stamped it with the ink and not did the embossing, then the it would have smeared out the color of what I stamped for the coffee. And so this is how I can get that color for my coffee and for my latte, and have the design a little bit more muted, but still show. Trying to clip those little rough edges. So there's that. And we'll save that piece for another project. These little pieces out of the way. Bring in my mini Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. Like that. My little plates. I'll put down my number 1 plate. I have this one that I've been cutting quite a bit on, and then I have another clear one. And I have some tape here that is Post-it tape. And so, see, I'm just going to add this to that mug so I can see the outline. And you have to make an E with the plates for, at least I do, to get it to go through. Try not to shake the camera too much. Yes, that's mug 1. So we have that one. Now it's time for the second mug. And by cutting this in this watercolor paper down to 3.5 inches, it will go through our Stampin' Cut, mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. which is nice. Do that. Like that. And then run that through. Sorry for shaking the camera. And you could use watercolor or do our alcohol markers, but I like the watercolor paper. I like the markers too, but there's our next mug. And you can see how this mug has a white outline, and this one will just blend in a little bit more. So like that. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off. I'm going to stick my hand in it yet. All right. So now then, I just want to take a little bit of glue, add it to my mugs. Like so. And then I want to add my coffee image to that one. And then to that one. Like that. Let those dry for a moment. And then that piece of the 1/2 inch. Here we go. The 1/2 inch, or no, I guess it's 3/4 inch by 3.5 inch. It's our sentiment that says, "Thanks so much." Right in the middle, like that. Add the lid. Take our snips, just kind of snip here in the middle. Go from the corner to the tip of that cut line that we made. Snip right up the middle. Like that. All right. So right here through the center, the best that I can do, I want to add my sentiment, and I'm going to glue it down. I do not wish to pop it up. Kind of like that. And then I have dimensionals here and on the backs of our coffee mugs. I'm going to do some of these longer pieces to do our handle. Like that. Oops. And you can either cut them or tear them. They tear fairly easy. So like that. And peel our backings off. All right, so now then we're going to add these to our card front, kind of like that. Kind of like that. I got a little smudge on there, so I'll see if I can erase any of it. Thought maybe it was glue or something, but there is our card for our couple of our techniques. And so we have the embossing in any color, and then we have the watercolor embossing, and then using watercolor to do our mugs. And so there we go. That is our Technique Tuesday, and I hope you enjoyed today's Technique Tuesday. And I hope that you will give both of these a try. You can use them for multiple different things. You could use it for the ice cream set. You could use it for, I don't know, you could use it for, let's see, you could do the cheerful daisies and do this one and then color it in. You could use it with the lattes. You could use it for like some of our animal stamps and things. And so I hope that you've enjoyed today's Technique Tuesday. And if you like this style and you give this a try, please share your creations with me over on my YouTube channel, or pardon me, my Facebook page, Creative Coach Lisa Fulford. And thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel. I appreciate it when everybody, whoever presses play and watches my videos. It helps me out on my channel on growing the channel and being able to make videos like this and share techniques and Make It Mondays and different things. And so please give it a thumbs up or subscribe. I have a lot of people who are watching my videos, but they're not subscribing. So I'm just asking, give it a subscribe and tune in for other inspirations and just fun stamping. So have a good evening. Happy Tuesday. Bye-bye.